I need to tell you something that most doctors are not talking about. There are 3 foods sitting in the average senior's kitchen right now. Foods that look completely innocent. Foods that your doctor has probably never warned you about. And those 3 foods may be quietly robbing you of something that no medicine can easily give back. Your ability to walk freely. I am Dr. Isabella Morgan, and in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly which 3 everyday foods may be silently weakening. The legs that carry you through your life. And then, I am going to show you the 3 foods that can help you fight back. Now, I know you have heard a lot of health advice over the years, and a lot of it has been good. But here is the part that does not always get said. After the age of 65, your body responds to certain foods in a completely different way than it did when you were younger. And some foods that seem perfectly fine can start doing real damage. Quietly, slowly, with no obvious warning signs until one day, your balance is off, your legs feel heavy, and your steps feel less certain than they used to. That matters because falling is the #1 cause of fatal injury in adults over 65. Not heart attacks, not cancer, falls. And a lot of those falls start long before anyone sees them coming. So stay with me through this whole video because one of the foods I am going to name later looks so healthy that almost everyone over 65 is eating it regularly, and you need to know this. Let us start with the good news. The first food I want to tell you about today is beets. Now, I know some of you are already making a face, but hear me out because beets are doing something inside your body right now that most people over 65 desperately need. Here is the problem that almost nobody talks about. As you get older, your blood vessels start to get a little stiffer, a little narrower. That means the blood that carries oxygen and nutrients to your legs, your feet, your brain, that blood has a harder time getting where it needs to go. And when your legs are not getting enough blood flow, things start to break down slowly. Your muscles get weaker, your balance gets shakier, your feet start to feel numb or cold, and most people just think that is normal aging. But it is not always normal. And it does not have to be this way. Think of it like a garden hose. When the hose is wide open and flexible, water rushes through easily and reaches every corner of the garden. But when that hose gets stiff and the opening narrows, the pressure drops. The parts of the garden that are furthest from the source start to dry out first, and in your body, the parts furthest from your heart are your feet and your lower legs. That is not a coincidence. That is why older adults feel it there first. The coldness, the numbness, the heaviness, the steps that feel less sure than they used to. Beets contain natural compounds called nitrates. And here is the simple version of how this works. When you eat beets, your body converts those nitrates into something called nitric oxide. And nitric oxide is like a message that tells your blood vessels to relax and open up. Wider blood vessels mean better blood flow. Better blood flow to your legs means stronger muscles, better balance, and better sensation in your feet. There was a study that followed older adults who drank beet juice before going for a walk, and those people walked measurably faster and with less effort than the people who did not. That is not a small thing. That is your body getting real, measurable help from a real food. Beets are also packed with folate, which helps protect your brain as you age, and they contain a group of antioxidants that give them that deep red color. And those antioxidants are working hard to protect your blood vessels from the slow, quiet damage that inflammation causes over years. Now, how do you eat them? You can roast them. You can slice them into a salad. You can blend them into a smoothie if you do not love the taste on its own. Small beet, a handful of berries, a little ginger. You will not even taste it, but your blood vessels will know it was there. A few servings a week can make a real difference over time. And I want you to hold on to this idea of blood flow as we go through the rest of this video, because blood flow is going to come up again. And not in a good way. When I get to one of the foods you need to avoid, blood flow is going to be the reason. But before we get there, I want to share something I think about a lot when I talk with older adults who tell me they are doing everything right. Walking. Every day, watching what they eat, taking their medications, And yet something still feels off. The legs get tired faster, the balance is not quite what it was. And what I find again and again is that the issue is not effort. It is that nobody ever connected the specific foods they were eating to what was happening inside their legs. That connection is real, it is measurable, and the beautiful thing is you can start working with it today. Which brings me to the second food that can help protect you as you age. The second food on the protective side is sweet potatoes. Now, you might be thinking, potatoes or potatoes. What is the difference? The difference is actually enormous, and it matters far more than most people ever get told. Sweet potatoes are rich in something called beta-carotene. That is the compound that gives them that beautiful orange color. And inside your body, beta-carotene gets converted into vitamin A. Now, vitamin A is essential for keeping your eyes sharp, and for older adults, your vision is directly connected to your safety. When your vision starts to fade and nobody catches it in time, your risk of falling goes up dramatically. You misjudge a step, you miss the edge of a rug, and down you go. But here is what makes sweet potatoes truly special for aging adults. They also help stabilize your blood sugar in a way that regular white potatoes do not. And I want you to pay attention here because this is important. When your blood sugar spikes after a meal and then crashes back down, that process over time damages the small blood vessels in your legs and feet. It also dulls the tiny nerve signals that help you feel where your feet are. Think of those nerves like little sensors in the soles of your feet, constantly sending messages up to your brain. Ground is flat, slight slope. Adjust. That constant conversation between your feet and your brain is what keeps you upright. But when blood sugar spikes repeatedly over months and years, those sensors start to go quiet. And when they go quiet, your balance suffers in ways that no amount of exercise can fully fix, because the problem is not in the muscles, it is in the signal. Sweet potatoes have a lower glycemic index than white potatoes. That means they release their energy slowly and steadily, not all at once. And that steady release helps protect those tiny blood vessels and those nerve signals that keep you stable on your feet. They also have magnesium, potassium, and a whole range of B vitamins that support muscle function and help reduce nighttime leg cramps, something that affects a huge number of older adults and that most people just accept as a normal part of aging. You can bake them, mash them without a lot of added butter or cream. Cube them into soups or stews. The skin has extra fiber, so leave it on when you can. Now, I know we are moving into some territory that might surprise you next, because the third protective food I want to share is something most people do not connect with leg strength and balance at all. The third food is kale, and before you close this video, let me tell you something specific about kale that changed how I think about it. Kale is one of the richest plant sources of vitamin K1 on the planet. And vitamin K is involved in something critically important that most people never hear about. It helps regulate where calcium goes in your body. Here's why that matters. As you age, calcium can sometimes end up in the wrong places. Instead of staying in your bones where it belongs, it can start to accumulate inside your arteries. And when that happens, your arteries get stiff and hard. Blood has a harder time flowing through them. And once again, we are back to that issue of blood flow to the legs. Stiff arteries mean poor circulation to the lower body. And poor circulation means weaker legs, cold feet, numbness, and a balance problem that builds slowly until you are not even sure when it started. Vitamin K helps guide calcium back to the right places into the bones away from the arteries. Kale also has something called lutein, which most people think of as an eye nutrient, and yes, it protects your vision. But lutein also crosses into the brain and has been shown in studies to help maintain the kind of processing speed and mental sharpness that you need to react quickly when your balance is challenged. That split-second reaction time, that is partly lutein. And here is something worth sitting with. Most falls do not happen because the legs suddenly give out. They happen because the legs wobbled and the brain did not respond fast enough to correct it. That reaction window is tiny, a fraction of a second, and what you eat over months and years either keeps that window sharp or slowly lets it widen until one day it is just a little too wide. Now, Kale can be a little tough to eat raw. Massaging the leaves with a little olive oil for a few minutes actually breaks down the fibers and makes it much gentler on your digestion. You can also sauté it lightly, chop it into soups, or blend it into a smoothie. Just a cup or two a few times a week gives your body meaningful amounts of what it needs. Now we have talked about 3 foods that are genuinely working for your body as you age. And I hope you are feeling some encouragement right now because this is not about perfection. It is about small, consistent choices that add up over months and years. But I also promised you something else today, and this is the part I want you to really pay attention to, because this is where a lot of well-meaning, well-intentioned seniors are quietly making themselves worse without ever knowing it. There are 3 common foods that many older adults eat regularly. Foods that have a solid reputation for being healthy or at least completely harmless. And for a younger person, they mostly are. But after 65, these exact foods can quietly trigger inflammation, damage circulation, and weaken the very legs that keep you independent. Let us start with the first one. The first food I want you to be careful about is corn. Now, I know corn is in everything. It is at every cookout, every family dinner, every street food cart. And corn itself is not poison. I want to be clear about that. But for older adults who eat it regularly, there is a problem that most people never connect to their legs. Corn is very high in omega-6 fatty acids, and the ratio between omega-6 and omega-3 fatty acids in your diet has a direct effect on how much inflammation your body is running. Here is the simple version. Omega-3s cool down inflammation. Omega-6, when eaten in excess, fan it. And most Americans, especially older adults eating a traditional diet, are consuming way too many omega-6 and not nearly enough omega-3s. Chronic inflammation does not feel like anything at first. There is no sharp pain, no clear warning, but it is working away inside your blood vessels, inside your joints, inside the small nerves in your feet. And over time, it leads to exactly the kind of slow damage that makes walking harder, that makes balance worse, and that raises your risk of a serious fall. Corn also has a high glycemic index, similar to what I mentioned with sweet potatoes. The blood, sugar spikes. The vessels take a hit. The nerves take a hit. Now, I am not saying never eat corn again, but if you are eating it several times a week, you may be quietly adding fuel to a fire you do not even know is burning. And the tricky part is that fire does not announce itself. There is no dramatic moment, just a gradual shift over months and seasons where walking feels a little harder and standing a little less certain than it did before. Try replacing some of your corn with the foods we talked about earlier. Your legs will feel the difference before your brain even registers what changed. If this is making sense to you, leave a comment below with the word stronger. It lets me know you are still with me. The second one might genuinely surprise you: canned tomatoes. Fresh tomatoes are actually quite good for you, but canned tomatoes are a different story for older adults. And here is why. Canned tomatoes are acidic enough that the canning process often causes the lining of the can to leach a compound called BPA into the food. BPA is a chemical that has been linked in research to increased inflammation and disruption of hormonal balance. 2 things that aging bodies are already struggling to maintain. But beyond the BPA issue, canned tomatoes are also extremely high in sodium in most commercial versions, and excess sodium is one of the quieter enemies of good circulation in older adults. It raises blood pressure. It causes the body to retain fluid. And that fluid retention in the legs is not just uncomfortable. It puts pressure on the small blood vessels that supply the muscles and nerves in your lower legs. That pressure reduces how well those muscles and nerves receive the oxygen and nutrients they need. And once again, we end up at the same place. Weaker legs, less reliable balance, higher risk of falls. You can fix this simply. Choose fresh tomatoes when you can. If you need canned, look for brands that are BPA-free and say no salt added on the label. That one small swap done consistently removes a quiet source of inflammation and circulatory stress from your diet. And I want to say something here. For the person who is cooking at home every night, making soups and sauces from scratch, doing everything they believe is right, You are doing something wonderful. The effort you are putting in matters. And a small adjustment like this does not undo that effort. It makes it work even harder for you. That is all we are doing here. Small, smart refinements that honor the care you are already giving yourself. Now, we have arrived at the third food, and this is the one I want you to share with the people you love, because almost every older adult I know eats this regularly, and most of them have no idea what it is doing to their legs over time. The third food to be careful with is iceberg lettuce. Now, this one is not about harm in the same way as the others. Iceberg lettuce is not triggering inflammation directly, but it is causing a different kind of problem that is very common in seniors and very rarely talked about. Iceberg lettuce is mostly water. It has almost no meaningful vitamins, minerals, or protective compounds. Almost no vitamin K, almost no folate, almost no lutein, almost no potassium or magnesium. And here is the issue. When older adults fill their plates with iceberg lettuce thinking they are eating healthy, they are actually missing the opportunity to eat something that would genuinely protect their legs, their brain, and their circulation. I think about the person who makes a big salad every single day. They are proud of that habit, and they should be. They are making an effort that most people do not. But if that salad is built on iceberg lettuce, they are eating something that is 96% water. They are getting almost none of the vitamin K their arteries need, almost none of the folate that keeps inflammation in check, almost none of the magnesium that prevents those painful nighttime leg cramps. They are filling a bowl every day and calling it healthy, and all the while, their body is quietly running low on the exact things it needs most to keep them steady and strong. This is what researchers call a nutrient displacement effect. You can only eat so much food in a day, and every bite of something that gives you almost nothing is a bite you are not taking of something that could genuinely help you. Over months and years, that quiet displacement of real nutrition adds up to real deficiencies. Those deficiencies in vitamin K lead to weaker bones and more arterial calcium buildup. Those deficiencies in folate lead to more arterial inflammation. Those deficiencies in magnesium lead to more muscle cramps, worse sleep, and weaker muscle function in the legs. The fix is simple. Just swap iceberg lettuce for dark leafy greens, kale, spinach, arugula. This one swap alone can meaningfully shift the nutritional foundation your aging body is working from. I want to take a moment and just talk to you, not doctor to patient, just one human to another. I know that getting older is not always easy. I know that the body does not always cooperate the way it used to. I know that some mornings you wake up and things feel different than they did 10 years ago, and that is real. I am not going to pretend otherwise. But here is what I also know. The choices you make at the table today are shaping who you are going to be 6 months from now, a year from now. The human body has a remarkable ability to respond to better inputs at any age. I have seen it. I have watched people in their 70s and 80s make small, consistent changes to what they eat. And I have watched them walk with more confidence, think with more clarity, and stand with more steadiness than they had in years. It does not require a complicated diet. It does not require expensive supplements. It starts with choosing beets over foods that stiffen your arteries, sweet potatoes over foods that spike your blood sugar, dark greens over empty calories, and understanding that a few common foods you may be trusting could be quietly working against you. You have earned the right to live these years on your own terms with your independence intact, with the ability to walk where you want to walk, see who you want to see, and stand on your own 2 feet in every sense of the word. Every meal is a quiet decision about what those years are going to look like, and every single day, you still have the power to make that decision count. Make them count. I am Dr. Isabella Morgan. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. If this helped you or someone you love, please share this video and subscribe for more honest, practical health information for adults over 60. I will see you in the next one. Take care of yourself. You deserve it.